In my family on the 4th of July, and every 4th of July going forward, we're going to watch that video that the New York Times put together of January 6th.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. This was a week that showed that CNN has no lows that it won't sing to in order to push a left-wing political agenda on behalf of the Democrats. Now, throughout the week, the shameless partisan activism actually included exploiting the deadly building collapse in Surfside, Florida, to argue, without any evidence, that climate change caused the tragedy.
We've been talking a lot about what happened in Florida at the Surfside condominium building that collapsed. We don't know exactly what happened at this point. But given what we know about the changing climate, given that we've seen an increase in these so-called extraordinary tides and the impact that that can have in areas like South Florida, do you think that climate could have played a role in that building's collapse?
Well, obviously, we don't know fully.
You simply don't know the cause. Nobody does yet. But there's no need for truth or evidence on CNN. They claim the global phenomenon of climate change focused itself on one building, missing all the neighboring structures.
The horrific building collapse in Surfside, Florida. It's an urgent, as opposed to slow-moving crisis. And while it's still too soon to know the precise cause or triggering event for the collapse, this is a wake-up call. And the broader toll of climate change on our coastal communities can no longer be ignored. So, who could have seen this coming? Pretty much anyone who paid attention to the science.
Like the scientific evidence of the impact climate change had on that building that was presented? Oh yeah, CNN's John Avalon just forgot that. MSNBC's Chris Hayes did not want to be left off the evidence-free bandwagon on this topic, however.
And we are now entering an era in which the pressures on every built structure will be increased by the driving story of the century, the warming planet. So think of the utter madness.
I am thinking of utter madness, and it's seen regularly on MSNBC. Contact Life alert them to their alarming choices in advertising. But now it's time to go to a real critical climate situation. MSNBC on Thursday was just full of meltdowns as the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Arizona's election integrity laws that prevented ballot harvesting and requiring people to vote in their own precinct. Well, on Joy Reid's show, actions like that are a violent blow against democracy.
The Supreme Court dealt another violent blow against democracy by upholding two restrictive Arizona voting laws, forbidding the collection of absentee ballots by anyone other than family or caregivers, and allowing the tossing of ballots inadvertently cast in the wrong precinct. Sadly, the conservative decision shows you just how central the big lie has become to Republican orthodoxy. What's far more troubling is what this decision means for future cases before the courts.
Alito's standard is basically, as long as you don't say the N-word when you are taking away people's votes, it is fine.
Actually, Alito's opinion doesn't use the N-word. That word is actually frequently used in Hunter Biden texts, however. But MSNBC never reports on those texts. But one thing MSNBC endlessly does keep reporting on is the January 6th riot, every chance they get. Now this week, another video came out by the New York Times on the subject, a video that political analyst Claire McCaskill seems, a little too obsessed with.
We're going to start a new family tradition in my family on the 4th of July, and every 4th of July going forward, we're going to watch that video that the New York Times put together of January 6th.
All right, Claire McCaskill, have a great 4th of July.
Good times this weekend at the McCaskill house, huh? I mean, who want a barbecue over at Claire's?
And every 4th of July going forward, we're going to watch that video.
The leftist media is just so demented, there's not a moment where they don't push their poison. In fact, on Sunday's Reliable Sources, CNN's host Brian Stelter began his show with a poisonous rant on how Sean Hannity goes on poisonous rants.
To understand why so many Republicans have abandoned democracy, to see why so many believe the big lie, to get why so many are trying to rewrite voting rules, you have to hear the poisonous propaganda that the GOP's activist base is listening to. You have to really hear it. It's coming more from Sean Hannity than from Trump right now. So that's what we did this week. We watched every episode of Sean Hannity's show, and we color-coded it. As you can see, we focused on his language, the insults and phrases that he repeats every night. Nasty little words like these.
socialist, stalker, weak, failure, shameless, psychotic indoctrination, hellholes.
To understand why so many Democrats don't understand a constitutional republic, to see why so many are so easily deceived, to get why so many don't want ballot security or voter ID, you have to hear the propaganda the leftist activist base is listening to. You have to really hear it. It's coming more from Brian Stelter than Biden right now. So that's just what we did this week. We watched just 2 minutes of Stelter's show and we focused on his language, the insults and phrases that he repeats, nasty little words like these.
Abandoned democracy, the big lie, rewrite voting rules, poisonous, abuse of the authoritarian, propaganda, filth.
Do you think Brian has a mirror? Well, maybe not. Of course, Fox lists Hannity as a host that gives conservative commentary. Stelter is listed as an anchor and chief media correspondent. Those little words, Have a great Independence Day weekend, folks. Have fun, enjoy your freedom. Just don't swing by the McCaskill house. I'm Eric Shiner for MRC-TV, asking you to show your pride in America. Shop at the MRC Store. Get some great gear over there. Also, head over to MRCTV.org for the latest videos, news, and entertainment. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to what you see on the social media platforms that will actually let you see it. And we'll be back next week with more leftist media madness.